Good show, and we got to talk about the latest with Cam Newton and the Patriots, because new Patriot Cam Newton has a history of celebrating when he reaches the end zone, most notably with his Superman gesture. But a Boston radio show questioned how those celebrations will be received by Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and even suggested that they may not be allowed. Shannon, do you think Belichick will have a problem with Cam's Superman celebrations?
No, I do not, Skip Bayless. Coach Belichick doesn't have a problem with celebrations. Coach Belichick has a problem with penalties that may come from celebration. Coach Belichick doesn't have a problem with hard play, smart play. He just doesn't want you to get penalties because he says penalties beat you. Penalties are a sign of a mentally weak football team. You're doing things it's hard enough to beat a team in the NFL without giving them an extra 5 yards, without giving them an extra 15 yards, without doing something dumb that goes directly against helping your team win. And Skip, this all stemmed from a show, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, it was in Boston. And I think it's called Felger and Maz, and the guy, Michael Felger. Skip, this is what happens, Skip. When you don't study, when all you do is talk and you don't do any research, this is what happens. And then you have your listeners that follow up this bull jive. Now, Skip, the part that we didn't get to, there were two earlier clips where defensive guys made plays. Ty Warren made a play against San Diego Chargers. He makes a play. He's excited. None of his teammates come around him. Coach Belichick said, what the hell, guys? Ty excited, but none of you guys seem to be excited.
So he likes team celebrations.
It doesn't matter. What does Cam Newton do after every celebration? What does Cam Newton do with the football for the last 9 years, Skip Bayless? What does Cam Newton do with the football after he celebrates?
After he celebrates?
Yes.
He gives it to a kid.
He gives it to a kid.
Okay. So that makes it okay if you give it to a kid. Okay.
As long as he's not harming his team. Skip Bayless, this is what I'm a firm believer in. The NFL is about 1,700 players on a given Sunday. I don't believe the NFL needs 1,500 TOs, but they don't need 1,500 Barry Sanders or Peyton Mannings either. I believe the NFL, Skip, there's a reason why the NFL lacks the rules. Remember, they lax the rules on celebrations. Why? Because that's what fans wanted to see. If this not entertainment, are you not entertained? See what it is, Skip Bayless? A black quarterback in New England hadn't even played a snap yet, and we're already finding a reason to be upset.
So you think this is racial at its core?
1,717%.
Interesting.
Hadn't even got there, Skip. But at the end of the day, Coach Belichick says, you know what? When a team that celebrates and you play hard and you win, this is going to come down to winning. This is going to come down to winning. You can do all the celebrations. You cannot celebrate. Barry Sanders handed the ball to the official. How many Super Bowls did he get to, Skip?
So you think that's why Barry didn't succeed? He didn't celebrate.
Hold on. Are you saying because guys that celebrate?
Emmitt Smith always just handed the ball to the official, and he won 3.
Oh, he did.
Well, I'm just saying he was regarded as the best player on those teams.
Skip, here's the thing. You see what happens? If you celebrate and you win, you're making a jackleg of yourself. If you celebrate and you lose, why are you doing it? I'll be damned if you do. I'll be damned if you don't. This is football. It is entertaining. Let the guys entertain. It is just more. Then Coach Belichick says, hold on, wait a minute. You should enjoy the fruits of your labor. You worked all week long. You went to practice. You went to meetings. It's hard to do what you done. So if I get the ball in the end zone, if I choose to celebrate, hell, if I want to order a pizza, as long as they don't throw a 15-yard flag for excessive celebrations, I don't have a problem with it. How about we get to the season? How about we get to a point and Cam scores a touchdown? Let's see what Cam does. Hey, maybe he hands the ball to the official. We don't know. But to make it an issue before it becomes an issue, I think it was unfounded, unwarranted, and we know what's going on. Look at Skip. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that Boston's history.
I think I brought that up to you on Monday morning right out of the box. Better be careful with this one.
The history of Boston is so good that their greatest win of all time, when they retired his number, he didn't even show up. How you have a celebration for Skip?
You're talking about Mr. Russell.
Mr. Russell.
Yes, Bill Russell.
Skip Bayless is getting a statue built at Vanderbilt University. He's so upset at Vanderbilt University. Y'all go and handle that. Ernestine, you can go, but I ain't going.
I would be there.
I know you would.
Yes, I would. All right. I want to be very clear about my position here. I tweeted about this last night that it would behoove Bill Belichick. It would be in his best interest if he not only looked the other way when Cam does his Superman celebration, even after a first down.
Right.
But it would serve him well if he encouraged that celebration, because it's part and parcel of who Cam Newton has always been and what fuels him and fuels his football team. That's
Correct.
what I tweeted
Yes.
last night. It has not been the Patriot way to encourage or to even begin to tolerate what I call signature, individualized, personal, recurring celebrations. They've never had that before. To your point, and that is a great clip about Belichick, there's a new narrative out there that started, yes, I think Mike Florio did it, about how, hey, Belichick's always had guys who celebrate.
Yeah.
And there's a tape, if we could see it right now, to go along with you. It's almost the accompaniment to your tape of all the different individual celebrations that we've seen. Oh, that's Gronk. To start. I'm going to get to that one in just a second.
The first one was Vrabel.
Yeah, Vrabel was first one.
Is that
Here we go.
celebrating?
That's a team celebration. Yeah, there we go.
What is that? That's team. I don't see no team. Oh, I guess the Minutemen are part of the team now, though.
LeGarrette Blount. And here we go. Oh, that's Brandon Cooks on the back of Gronk. And there goes Vrabel.
Who happens
to be a head coach now. Okay, so we're seeing all these celebrations, but the key here to those are they're all one-offs. They're all one-and-done celebrations.
Yeah.
Some of them were calculated and premeditated, but they didn't recur. They just happened spontaneously in the heat of the moment, the joy of the moment, to Coach Belichick's point. He likes it when the whole team shows huge joy and emotion, like an emotional outpouring that is intimidating to the opposition. As you would well know, you had some celebrations yourself, right?
I did.
And it's like pouring a little gasoline on your own fire, and it's a little overwhelming to the other team, like, damn, he just did it to us again. And he's just rubbing our nose in it right now. Okay, so I get all that. So I would be all for Belichick at least looking the other way, even if this somehow rubs him the wrong way, because he has not encouraged signature individual celebrations such as I am Superman. Maybe behind closed doors, Belichick will say, come on, give me a break. We don't need guys saying I am Superman, especially our franchise quarterback saying that. But let's get back to the Gronk one. He obviously, or at least didn't discourage Gronk's, but what did Gronk do? He took the single oldest celebration in all of football. It was invented in 1965 by Homer Jones of the New York Football Giants, who was the first to think about, hey, I'm going to take this football and I'm just going to throw it in the ground. And Gronk took it to another level because he actually rocked the earth with it. It was a nuclear spike that he sort of invented. But it's the oldest celebration. Most people think that Homer Jones' spike in 1965 was the first ever touchdown celebration.
They do.
Okay, so Gronk didn't invent that one. Like Cam, you got to give Cam this. He has invented things that were never done before. The dab in 2015. Well, again, there was a craze out there, but Dab took it to the National Football League and made it. He detonated the popularity of the dab.
Well, Skip, they give Cam credit for it, but if you go back and look, that was Cap's celebration. Cap was the one that was doing that.
That's a good point. But
Cam got credit for it.
In an MVP campaign, it took off and it became the signature celebration for a team that got to the Super Bowl. And you can't tell me that the dab wasn't a driving force for the 15-1 Panthers.
Skip, I don't know if people remember this, but when we got to the Super Bowl the first year, we had something that Terrell Davis and the running back started it. It was the Mile High Salute.
And it was huge.
And they still do it to this day.
Okay.
So,
but I always think that those things can actually lift a whole team's psyche. You know, like everybody rallies around that. Like going back to the Bengals in 1989, the Icky Shuffle. And it was so Icky Woods, if you don't remember the running back. But it was so entertaining and it was so clever, even though it wasn't all that complex what he was doing.
It was your team that cut out the celebration because you remember Washington used to score the touchdown and the fun bunch. They would get there and do all this, and then I think it was Dennis Thurman.
It was my friend Dennis Thurman who said, enough of that, not in my house.
And then they almost got into a fight. and the NFL did away with it. It was your guys that cut out the celebration.
And then it was the anti-Dallas celebration detonated by one Terrell Owens before he was a Cowboy. He was a 49er. He ran to the star.
He did.
And did this on the star.
Three times.
It was the ultimate blasphemy. That was at old Texas Stadium. It wasn't at Jerry World.
Right.
And he did it, and he got attacked by various Cowboys and knocked off.
George, the guy from
Alabama.
Yeah. And Emmett, I think Emmett was, Emmett scored a touchdown, and then he ran, took his helmet off, and he ran and put the ball down and said, how dare you?
Okay, so this is my gut feeling on this, that I believe Belichick will allow it. I don't know that he would love this being as old school as he is, this signature celebration, because he's never had any, even like all the quote-unquote trouble players, and Cam is not a trouble player. Let's be clear about that. But Belichick has had a history, we've talked about it, of bringing in the Randy Mosses and the
Corey
Ainsworth and the Corey Dillons and even Aaron Hernandez. That goes into deep, dark trouble. But the point is, all those guys he would take chances on because they would all find, oh, this is how we do it here. This is the Patriot way. Chad Ochocinco. Did he not leave behind the all-time most entertaining touchdown celebrations? He left them behind in Cincinnati.
Hell, he left his game behind in Cincinnati, too.
Well, the point is, I'm not even sure he had a chance to do a Riverdance celebration in New England because he never was a factor in New England.
That is correct.
But he would be the first to tell you, once I went there, I was a model citizen. Well, all these quote-unquote trouble players became model citizens because Brady, as sort of the overseer of the locker room, would teach them, this is just how this guy demands that we do it. We do it the Patriot way. Okay, so I got all that. Now we get to the issue of power. Who will have the power here going into next year? So there's another story I want to talk about that came via ESPN, and I think it was Diana Rossini yesterday. She quoted anonymously an AFC East head coach as saying, hey, I'm paraphrasing the quote, but don't get this wrong. Belichick loves Jarrett Stidham. Don't be surprised if Jarrett Stidham isn't the starting quarterback next year. So I sit back and think about this because, okay, AFC East, okay, I don't think it's Sean McDermott because I just don't think he would go there. I could be wrong. But there's a guy in Miami who coached for years under Belichick, so he would know where all the bodies are buried. And he would have contacts, deep throat contacts in New England, And Adam Gase, he'll talk. You know, he's a talker, so maybe he would go off the record to Diana Rossini. It's possible. My point to you and my question to you is this. Are we missing the boat here? Because if Cam isn't even the starting quarterback, this all becomes a non-issue.
Yes, a moot point.
Okay? So is it possible? Remember, Bill Belichick just signed Cam Newton for barely over $1 million. Think about that. It's $1.05 million. That's for a starting quarterback. Do you realize that makes Cam the 908th highest paid player in the league?
Wow.
Do you realize that makes him the 58th highest paid quarterback in the league? Well, that's so disrespectful. I mean, he's so much better than that.
Man, they paid him like he Dak Prescott.
Okay.
They paid him like he Dak Prescott.
Well, he did win an MVP, and he did get to a Super Bowl, which my guy has not done before, right?
And they still paying him what Dak got.
Yeah, well, Dak is about to make 31.4 and maybe a lot more than that. So he's good. But the point is, the incentives could get Cam up to 7.5. Well, that's still not a ton of money when you start thinking about $40 million for a quarterback, right? Here's my question. Is it possible that we all miss the point, miss the boat, that Belichick is viewing Cam Newton as little more than an even better Taysom Hill? That he's thinking of Cam packages where, I don't know, 10, 12 times a game, Cam goes into the game, and he runs it, I don't know, 6 or 7 times, and he throws it 6 or 7 times in a game. Jarrett Stidham obviously has no credentials to the point that he could balk at that or make any kind of waves about it. He would have to just go along with the flow, like he's a first-year starter trying to replace the GOAT, okay? So is it possible that he's just a better Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love or whoever you want to throw in there as a package guy, a gadget guy, but the all-time greatest gadget guy, because it would be just like Belichick to say, watch what I do to you. It could be 15 plays a game. where he's mixing and matching Jared Stidham and Cam Newton.
You never say never when dealing with Coach Belichick, but I don't see that happening. Skip, I made this, when we found out this, I think Cam signed on late Saturday, early Sunday, and we came in and talked about it on Monday. I said, Skip, there's a chance that Jared Stidham starts the season because he has a head start now.
Okay, but you're just talking about a placeholder. You're just talking about like a couple of games until Cam gets up to speed.
Now, if all things being equal, let's just say we have a normal 2020 and Cam gets signed. As soon as he's released, the Patriots bring him in. He goes through OTAs. He goes through minicamp. He's hearing the verbiage. Okay, now I was like, okay, Skip, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting when we get to camp. But when they get to camp, Skip, camp is starting from such a far behind position that Jared Stidham clearly has a leg up. Now, I'm going to be shocked. I would be very surprised, and I'll be honest with you, Skip, if say by 4th, 5th game, unless they're like wiping the floor with people, that Cam is not in the starting lineup. I'm going to even be more shocked, and I think a lot of people will be shocked if Cam Newton does at some point in time wins this job from Jared Stidham.
Okay, but remember, we're talking about the flip sides of each other because even though Jared Stidham's pretty athletic, but still he's more of a drop-back pocket passer.
Yeah.
Cam can also be that, but Cam brings a whole nother dimension and a whole new set of plays.
Right.
So it's hard to switch horses at midstream to go to Cam after 5 games unless you, as you say, if they're tearing up the league, then that won't happen.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm talking about the prospect of Bill Belichick loving Jared Stidham so much. Well, let me ask you this. What would be more satisfying to Bill Belichick? To get to the playoffs this year with Jared Stidham or with Cam Newton? Help me out.
Well, probably with Jared Stidham.
It would be.
His hand-picked guy, but Skip, the most gratifying thing is to get to the playoffs. Because that way it shows I got to the playoffs even without having number 12. Because every time we talk about success, everybody goes back to what I did in Cleveland before I got Brady. So now I'm in New England, and I don't have Brady, and I'm still enjoying a level of success that people didn't think I could have, minus Brady.
Okay. So if he could get to the playoffs with a first-year starter named Jared Stidham, people would be sitting back saying, what the genius at work again. He did it with another diamond in the rough that this time he picked in the 4th round, not the 6th round like Brady, but the 4th round, which is still pretty incredible, right?
Yeah.
And he could, the critics or in this case, the supporters of Belichick would be saying, look, he's proving that he can do it without Tom Brady because he did it with Brady and then he turned around and did it with the next Tom Brady, another guy he plucked out of nowhere.
And there's another theme, Skip, because there's a lot of people that didn't think Cam Newton could mesh with Coach Belichick.
Okay.
So now...
well, that's a whole nother issue.
But here's the thing. Now he takes that guy where people say, well, he couldn't even mesh, gets to the playoffs, make a deep run in the playoff with Cam Newton. Because remember, Skip, over the last 4 years, what Cam numbers have done. Okay. Since that MVP season.
But I got to tell you, it wouldn't be nearly as impressive as Jared Stidham.
Well, you're talking about a second-year guy.
Okay.
That's what made
Brady. And a first-year starter.
Right. That's what made Brady's success so overwhelming. Because
in 01.
Right. You're talking about a second-year guy that really didn't take any, but I don't even know if he threw a pass in 2000. And so he comes onto the scene. And even when Bledsoe got healthy, Coach Belichick wouldn't turn it back over to him, which is odd, especially a guy you paid that kind of money to.
Let's say you get to this year's Super Bowl with Cam Newton. Well, some people, including me, would say, well, he was an MVP and he did lift the Carolina Panthers to 15-1 in the Super Bowl. So he's done it. He's been there and done all that before. Right. So it wouldn't shock me. Well, I guess it would shock me if he took what's left in the cupboard at New England against the hardest schedule off last year's one-loss record. If he took that team against that schedule to the Super Bowl, he'd be in the MVP. He might be the MVP.
Yeah, exactly. He gets that team to the Super Bowl. He's probably going to be the MVP.
That would be all about Cam Newton more than it would be about Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Okay, my point there is, back to celebrations. If Cam Newton does start week 1, and he does take over games and start to take over this team, then we have a whole different dynamic operating where Belichick's going to have to sit back and say, I got to swallow this because this guy has become the new face of our franchise. And it would allow Belichick to at least compete with what Brady's doing with what I still think is a very good...
Or not doing.
Will be doing.
Or not.
It's a dead solid in concrete fact That team's going to win the division.
No, it's not.
So you need to compete with that. I don't think you can compete with that with Jared Stidham.
But Skip, what I don't understand, you remember when Brady would get those first downs and he would do all this? Is that celebrating?
Well, he doesn't do this, does he?
Yeah.
First down?
First down, he got to get a first down, and when he would walk for those first downs.
Okay, but how many times did that happen? 3?
But it happened. Did that guy have a problem with those celebrations? That's my only thing. Hey. You can't say, well, he only celebrated 3 times, but Cam might celebrate 30 times. So I have a problem with the 30, but not the 3.
Okay, well, let me point this out. And I've said this before. Tom Brady has shown more emotion on the football field than any quarterback in the history of pro football.
Yes.
In the history. Why do I call him Psycho Tom? He loses it. He is capable of running 60 yards down the field and headbutting the guy he just threw a touchdown pass.
Well, Skip, you remember in Pittsburgh when they said the DB said, we're going to beat the Patriots. And that was that opening night, and Tom Brady threw the flea figure.
It wasn't opening night.
Well, it was Sunday night.
It was at Foxborough in the middle of that season.
Right. And he takes off running down the field in the guy's face.
He did. Got in the guy's face.
You like that?
Yeah, because that guy guaranteed that they would win at Foxborough.
Exactly.
I can't remember his name. Smith? Wasn't he a Smith?
I can't even remember his name either.
Poor guy.
Well, he's probably glad you can't remember his name.
Yep, I agree. But the point is, if Cam suddenly flips the switch back to Superman, if he's 2015 Cam right out of the box this year, well, he'll take over the town. He'll take over the team. They will love him. They won't love him as much as Brady because he only got to 9 Super Bowls.
Well, I think the thing is, here's the thing about celebration, Skip. What people get upset about, you're losing by 25 points. You break up a pass, and then you going all over. Look at me, you strutting like a peacock. You do it. Bro, you down 25.
Okay.
Or you score a touchdown, and you down 21 points with 3 minutes to go in the ball game, and you act like you just won the lottery. Bro, settle down. But Cam, in the course of the game, you winning, and they're having fun. That's what Coach Belichick wants because that's what's contagious. Man, you see Cam, I'm going to go get me a play because I want to celebrate. That's the way it's going to happen, Skip Bayless.
Think so? So what if Jared Stidham is the starter? Can you see Cam, if he doesn't have packages, can you see him just holding a clipboard? Because you want to talk about a guy who is not made for that?
Yeah, that's
the last guy who is made for that. Cam Newton was born to be a starting quarterback and a star quarterback in this league.
It's tough.
It's why nobody wanted to take a shot at him as our backup. We don't want that guy. His aura's too big. His personality's too big to be a backup.
I'm sure they'd love to have Eli as a backup in New York. Eli said, I ain't going to be able to do that, bro. I'm going to go and exit stage left.
Yeah, but Eli had no personality. But like what I'm saying is there was no aura to him where you said, this kid's got it, you know?
But did you see Eli standing on the sideline when Daniel Jones took over? He had even less personality.
Okay, well, that was pathetic. No, I agree. You know, there's something that gnaws at me that maybe Belichick, because so many people reported in New England that he loves Jared Stidham. I think maybe we're going to see Cam as kind of a co-quarterback, as in I get to play 12 plays a game kind of a quarterback.
Well, as long as it's not that situation that they had in Dallas and we had in Denver.
Where you alternate plays?
Yeah.
You actually run in and out with the play called from right into your ear by the head coach?
Yeah. I don't think that'll be a good situation.
I don't think we'll see.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.